North Dakota State Extension economist Frayne Olson is our market analyst this week. The USDA is scheduled to issue two key reports regarding corn, soybeans, and wheat on June 30th. The agency's estimates for quarterly grain stocks and planted acreage are slated for release Thursday at 11 a.m. Central Time. Currently, the USDA is expecting U.S. farmers will have planted 93.6 million acres of corn and 82.2 million acres of soybeans this growing season. Meanwhile, U.S. winter wheat producers are a quarter of the way done with this year's harvest, and the USDA is expecting a 10% increase from 2015. If realized, the projected average yield of 50.5 bushels per acre would be a new record, surpassing the previous top of 47.8 set in 1999. We talked with Frayne Thursday morning and started by asking about the U.S. harvest.
We've got pretty good winter wheat progress going, or harvest progress going in both Texas and Oklahoma. The progress report on Monday indicated that about 55% of the Texas and Oklahoma crops have been harvested, which is about 25% of the total acreage in the U.S. Early indications for quality reports are a little bit mixed. There are some test weight issues starting to show up. There's also some lower proteins coming out in the first samples coming off the fields. Kind of the market was expecting some of that because of the rains that came through later in the season. The expectation as we move forward is as we move into southern Kansas and then into northern Kansas and Colorado and Nebraska, that the qualities will improve as we move northward.
What does production outside the U.S. look like?
Yeah, there are some similar issues, I guess some concerns in the wheat market showing up for three major producing regions and exporting regions out of the world. First in Europe, primarily focused on France and Germany. Some reports there, again, just beginning their harvest progress for winter wheat right now. There are some concerns about some scab or fusarium head blight that's showing up in some samples. Scab is one of those fungal diseases that really cause problems for both quality as well as yields. So if that continues to move forward, there are some issues that might show up with the division of feed wheat versus milling quality wheat coming out of Europe. The other area, both Ukraine and Russia, southern Russia, are beginning their winter wheat harvest. Very similar conditions where they've had some rains coming through just as the crop was filling. Some concerns, at least we don't have any solid reports yet, but concerns about some quality issues coming out of that region. And again, the division of how much of this is going to be as classified as feed quality wheat versus milling quality wheat. And finally, China, which is technically the largest wheat producing country in the world. Their core wheat producing region, again, having some wet weather during harvest. And now China tends to use a fairly large portion of their wheat production for feed, but they do have a significant portion of milling quality wheat. So as we get more reports, the wheat market's going to try and figure out how much of the milling quality wheat's available. That may open a door for some U.S. Wheat exports into some regions we typically haven't exported into. The other issue, though, is that with higher feed wheat availability, that may put some pressure on corn exports. So again, these are kind of developing stories. We'll have to watch them as we get more information.
Let's shift into corn and tell me what happened in that market so far this week.
Yeah, we're headed into the summer weather markets. That's the simplest way I can put it. We had built a little bit of a premium, in particular in the corn market. The early forecast for kind of extended weather forecasts as we move into July, which is, gets into some key flowering and pollination stages, especially for the southern growing corn. The early forecasts were some hot, dry weather. Some of those forecasts started to change. The extended forecast started to change to a bit more moderate temperatures and a little more rainfall. So as we started making that shift in our expectations, a lot of money suddenly left the market, and we saw a pretty big drop here earlier in the week. My forecast, my expectation as we move forward is that the volatility will continue, and it's going to be very heavily driven by those extended forecasts. Are we going to see hot and dry, or are we going to see more moderate and wet temperatures? And the corn market right now will be the most sensitive just because of the timing of some of the reports.
Yeah, do those reports add to the volatility over the next week or so?
I really do expect to see quite a volatile couple weeks here, especially in the corn market, but I think the bean market will follow along with that.
Big reports on Thursday. What do you think farmers should be looking for? What are you looking for?
Very good question. We're going to have two major reports. The one that will get the most attention is going to be the acreage report, which is a survey of farmers that tries to estimate how much they actually planted. The March report was planting intentions. What did you intend to plant? The June acreage report is how much did you actually plant? And given the rally that we've seen in soybeans the last several months, the concern is, well, how much shifting did we get? The market right now is expecting an increase in soybean acreage anywhere from 1 million to 1.5 million acreage. The general consensus will see a slight cutback in corn acreage, anywhere from 500,000 to 1 million. Again, we'll wait to see what the industry estimates are later on in the week or just before the report comes out. But right now, that's kind of the sense. We do have some contrarians out there that are looking for corn acreage to be relatively stable, but again, we'll wait to see. My expectation is we'll have about close, not quite, a little over 1 million, probably 1.2 million would be my best guess on increase in soybean acreage. I think about a 700,000 acre decrease in corn acreage. The other report that we'll have will be the grain stocks report, the quarterly stocks report. The thing to be watching for in that one will be the corn numbers. First, it's very difficult to follow the feed usage for corn, so this is one indication of how rapidly we're using up feed. The other number, of course, will be how much is left on farm. How quickly have farmers been marketing from the farm gate into the commercial supply network?